This is your host, Jason Snowgrove, and I will be your guide as we journey down the road to pleasure hunt or hitting the long trail to those great comp hunts. This is the Coonhound Collective Podcast. All right, welcome back to another week of the Coonhound Collective Podcast. I've been having to ride solo for a little while, but today I have a guest with me today via telephone. We'll see if he's there. Are you there, guest?
You hear me, Judge?
Yeah, well, as most of y'all probably know, I posted my Walker dog for sale yesterday and sold him, and all of a sudden, Brett wants to do a podcast again. I don't, what's going on with you?
It's great. Things are shaping up around the podcast areas here.
Yeah.
We know what's going on with me.
Well, I know you've been a little under the weather, so we give you a pass for a week or two, but did you ever find your Walker dog you was hunting? Did you ever get your
I wasn't looking for no Walker dog. I kept smelling the... I seriously, though, I got sick of smelling the stink from your kennel when we'd go hunting and I'd come over there.
Oh.
So I am glad you made a change.
You didn't want to be let down, huh?
Nope. No. You know, they do got different. They do got a little different odor for real.
Yeah. Well, you ain't got to worry about that. There's no Walker dog smell up there anymore. He's gone. He's gone to bigger and better places. So
good. Now we can be friends again.
I might regret it when he's getting his picture took here shortly, but I guess that's all right.
He's possibly going to get his picture took, that's for sure.
Well, he went to the right places to get his picture took. Let's put it that way. But
no, he wasn't that much wrong with that dog at all. Anyways, I mean,
yeah. But we're gonna.
He can't help who his mom and daddy was, and the rest of his grandpa and the rest of his ancestors.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Little guy, I kind of felt sorry for him.
We're gonna go back to a different flavor, and kind of the same flavor, but a different flavor. So we'll see. We'll see how the wild and crazy act when they show up here in a few days.
Are you getting some wild and crazy back?
Yeah, I guess so. By the time this podcast hits the airwaves in the morning, we're recording this on a Sunday afternoon, and so by the time the podcast hits the airwaves Monday morning at 4:00, old Creeper will be in the, well, he won't be in the white van, but he'll be in the blue Dodge in the back, headed towards Missouri. He's coming back home.
Nice.
So, yeah. Sometimes.
That's good.
Sometimes.
Are you excited?
I'm a little bit. I've tried a bunch of dogs. I've had a bunch of dogs here, a bunch of Walker dogs here, and I've tried a bunch of them. And I mean, even this one I sold. I mean, he wasn't a creeper. He just, if I can keep him straight like he's been out there, I can probably go do some winning with him. But he's been out.
So basically, you've been getting let down.
Yeah. So
you're getting your English dog back.
I've kind of been let down on these line of dogs I've been hunting. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
I know. I sense your frustration.
Well, sometimes, and I think you could probably speak from experience. You let one go, and then you realize after you let it go, oh crap, what did I do? And that's, I really didn't think that right at the beginning, but when I started trying to try dogs and find something to replace him with, and to find a dog that suits me, I realize is a little hard. What you say, yeah, I like the crazy ones, but I just like one that
Mhm.
hustles and moves around good, and he does that. He's action packed. So he's gonna come back
Yeah.
to the plantation, and we're gonna go to work and see if we can't get our picture taken a few times with him. So what's been up with you? You
Oh,
been
you
hunting or
will.
anything?
You're you're going to. No, I've been pretty sick. I've been under the weather, so
Yeah,
I've been down a while. And
you've missed some work and
I'm
everything,
getting
right?
better though. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Um, what it's been a while. I heard you done a couple of podcasts, right? Without me, two of them.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't remember you reading no Apple reviews or anything. We've surely got some reviews by now, or is it maybe not since I haven't been talking with you on here?
Yeah, they love you. So no, we I've got one here, and I think you've got one there, and then we've got kind of
Yeah, I
one.
do. Yeah.
We got kind of one that's like a review, but we're actually going to talk about the topic that they emailed in. We'll get to it here in a minute, but I'll uh
Oh, okay.
I'll go ahead
I
and
was wondering
read.
what we was going to talk about.
Yeah, we'll get to it in a minute. I'll go ahead and read this one I got first, and you can read yours that you got there. Uh,
Okay.
this is an Apple review.
Now is yours an apple? Okay.
Yeah,
Mine's a pineapple review. But,
okay. Yeah,
okay.
mine's from an apple, not pineapple.
Okay.
Says it's titled "Good Help." This come in August 28th. That was my birthday. Huh.
Okay.
Ozark Squatch. Thanks, guys, for all your time and hound support to help me be a better handler and helping my dogs be the best. And a judge minus him for not striking his dog before he treat him. Not sure what that means with a laughy smiley face at the end of it, but hey, if we can help you, we're glad that we can. I don't know how much help I've been, but Brett's the big money winner. So go ahead
Yeah,
with your
appreciate.
pineapple.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate the review there. You said, what was that?
Ozark Squatch.
What was it? Ozark Squatch. Like a Sasquatch?
I guess he's a Bigfoot hunter here in Ozarks. I don't know.
Huh.
Hey, I've been on a podcast. You didn't even say anything about that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you was on that podcast out there. Coonhound Confidentials.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah, I'm getting famous.
That's one of them interviews that you listen to when you're sick.
Yeah.
I thought I'd just go ahead and play it.
Yeah, you might as well go ahead and put yourself out of misery.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of putting yourself out of misery, I gotta move this. I was putting a scope on a gun here a minute ago, and this thing's laying on this couch here pointing at me, and I've got to move it. That just bothers me. It ain't loaded, but I can't sit here and do a podcast with a gun barrel pointing me in the face.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm back. All right, now.
Had to hold you at gunpoint to get you back on the podcast to help co-host this thing. Get you away from looking at them crazy walker dogs.
You've already said that word enough, and we've only been. So you don't have to get nasty.
Okay, go ahead with your review that you got, or two, or whatever it is.
Speaking of being nasty, this kind of goes along with this pineapple review I got.
Oh.
Let me see where'd it go. Oh, this is from Bobby Williams in South Carolina. He says, "I sure do enjoy the podcast. I love that I can play it and not have to worry about if my daughter hears it. I'm glad it's clean. I'm glad it's clean and entertaining and family friendly." That's nice. Appreciate that, Bobby.
Yep, we do appreciate that, and we do.
Good.
I try to do my best to keep it as clean as we possibly can, and if there is something that comes up, bleep it out, because I do. My wife and grandkids listen to this, so I don't want them hearing anything either. So we do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby Williams, South Carolina. Hey, I got another one here.
Go ahead.
This is a big deal. I actually come across this one when I was sick, and I thought, man, if we was doing podcast, so I'm a little late on reporting this one, but it's Starlink. It says, keep up the good work. The podcast is amazing and entertaining. I would be interested in becoming a business partner with you guys. My phone number is listed below. We appreciate that, Elon, but we're not actually well, I'm not interested in selling anything or selling out. Are you?
Well, I ain't interested in selling out, but now if he wants to sponsor the podcast, we might could work something out on being I'm a Starlink customer. We probably could work something out on that.
That's true. Elon, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that review. It's neat. It's neat getting reviews from people like that sometimes. We get those on occasion.
Yeah. Next thing you know, Joe Rogan will be asking us to be on his podcast. We'll have to go wherever he does his podcast at.
Wow. Yeah. You never know.
We'll be big time. Speaking of Starlink and technology, being you brought that up, I was having an issue with my thermal.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to Zach and down at Conkey's, and he put me in touch with AGM, and I thought, boy, this is going to be a mess. And man, I give them a call, and the guy told me to do this and do that, and about 5 minutes, I had that sucker fixed, and she's working like a new one. So.
Awesome.
Shout out to AGM for sure for their customer service. Their customer service is on it. I mean, I called him and I said, this is what I got going on, and he didn't even stutter. He knew exactly what I needed to do, told me where to go in the menu, and it's up and running like a new sewing machine.
Sweet. That's good. That's good. Now that the leaves are fixing to come off.
Yeah. Well,
we still got a lot of leaves on, so you got a little while.
Yeah,
left to use it.
Just the walnut leaves are coming off, so right now.
Hey, you through on your end on here, do you?
Say that again.
You don't hear the lawnmower running on your end there, do you?
No, who you got running a lawnmower today?
I got my wife on the mower out there.
Your wife's cutting grass?
The window. I was sitting there thinking. She goes, "You're not going to mow?" And I said, "I ain't been feeling good." She goes, "Well, you're feeling better than what you was." I said, I don't know. I said, "I'm still not doing too good." She goes, "Well, this yard needs mowed." And I said, "Well, mower's out there." And she got on that thing, and you called me, and I fixed me a cup of coffee. I'm sitting in here. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. She's going to split your head with one of those cast irons.
Hey, about the time she gets done, because it's like 3:30 or something, I think, and by the time she gets done, it'll be time for her to come in and cook supper.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think you might be milking this sickness thing a little bit.
I'm feeling better.
Oh. Well, let's read this.
We got a guest coming on.
No, we ain't got no guest. We're gonna, not really. We're gonna talk about an email I got here that I thought was a pretty good topic and something that we've kind of went back and forth on talking about from time to time. So I'm gonna read the email here, and then we'll go right in topic. But before I read the email, we need to hear a word from our sponsor for this week's podcast. And we'll be right back after that, after we hear a word from this Walker dog. Are you looking for a dog with drive, heart, hustle, a natural owner? Let me introduce to you a dog that fits that bill and then some. One that can add that extra gear to your females and the natural independence we are all looking for. One that when you need that clutch moment, look no further than Grand Night Champion PR coming in clutch, owned by Rick and Zach Gravetti. You can contact them about breeding at 636-234-5062 or find them on Facebook. Grand Night Champion coming in clutch. All right, we're back, and here is the topic for today. Comes from us through an email. Just had a subject I would love to hear you and Brett touch on. The frustrations of not having a dog. Yeah, I know. The frustrations of not having a dog ready for competition hunts on your projected timeline, which could roll into goals for the dogs in the long run, as well as how to know when the dog is in fact ready for competition hunts. With all the social media coverage now, it becomes increasingly harder to stay at home and keep grinding rather than enter a hunt you know your dog isn't ready for. Myself, I'm doing my best to make sure my foundations and fundamentals are rock solid before I enter a hunt. With that being said, this month, with Autumn Oaks, Fall Super Stakes, and UKC World and full media coverage, I'm extremely frustrated. I try to keep telling myself we'll get there, and the dogs that hit hunts hard at a young age usually fall off and don't go on to do much as an older dog. Most of the time, the dogs that do well for several years are older dogs. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the subject, or maybe I'm the only one, LOL. And then it's signed, thanks, Rebecca A.G. Rebecca, thank you for the email, and you're not alone. I can tell you that, because I'm in your boat right now, and I have been in your boat, and I'm quite sure Brett will agree he's probably been in this boat as well.
Yeah, well, so let's break that down. I mean, what's the first? Go back to that, and what's the first main question? I mean,
the frustrations of not having a dog ready for competition hunts on your projected timeline.
On her projected timeline, so she's planning on hitting a hunt. With a dog that maybe been put in a hunt before. You think?
Probably something
that she's been hunting.
Probably it may be a combination of both. Maybe one that she hasn't had in a hunt and trying to get ready to be in a hunt, or maybe one that's been in some local hunts that trying to get ready to be in big hunts. And to me, it's a two-part deal because, and we've talked about this. You have, these, especially the day and age of social media, you're seeing dogs posted on social media and they're 8, 9, 10, 12 months old. They're out there treeing coons, or people's taking them to these hunts and they're posting their wind slips. And, you got one that is about that age, or maybe even a little bit older, a little bit younger, and you just don't feel quite to that point yet. It really is frustrating, thinking, well, maybe it's time for a change, which. But in that situation, I think it just takes patience. I talked with an older gentleman a week or so ago on the phone about some different stuff, and he's 80 something years old. The guy I talked to, we were just dog talking, and that was one of the things he says. He said most people are not patient enough to wait a dog out, end up giving up on them, moving them on. They end up making a pretty decent dog somewhere else, or maybe they don't even get the chance somewhere else because of their frustration with them, because they're not doing what people think they should be doing.
And then end up having to buy them back.
Yeah, sometimes you end up having to buy them back.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she's not alone here, because I'm telling you, I've been there. When I had Creeper here, there was times I thought I had him ready, and And the dog was ready. I truly think he was ready. I can't explain what was going on with him really, but it's frustrating when you know you have one that's ready and you go and it don't perform up to where you know it can perform. But it's even more frustrating
Mm-hmm.
whenever. Well, here's a good example of what I'm talking about. I've got Belle up there, that semen pup off of Amos up there, and this dog has been running track with Creeper since she was about 4 months old, and she'll run track to a tree, and put her feet up on the tree, but she won't tree at all yet. And then
Yeah.
you have some guys that are hunting some of those same dogs out of that same litter from Morris Tart posting videos of, I don't know, maybe a turn loose coon or a feeder bucket coon or something, and they're treeing already. So I I understand the frustration because my first thought is, well, why ain't mine doing that? Why ain't she doing that?
Yes.
Which, I mean, I have kind of, because of where I live and it's harder, a little bit harder to train a pup. I've kind of, understand that a little bit from my area. Now, if I'd been where I've lived in some previous areas before, I'd probably be really frustrated with her if she wasn't doing more than what she is right now.
Mm-hmm.
What say you?
Yeah. Um, well, yeah, that's the truth. Like, especially if you've got a young dog and you're hunting it with a buddy, with a or whatever you might be doing. Different guys do different things, but if you got, I've had that before. I mean, just thinking back like years ago, was hunting together. I had a male that wouldn't tree, and I mean, she was from one of the better English crosses in this country down here. Is when Russ bred Back Roads Rosie to Cabin Creek Rowdy, and that was a phenomenal cross. And like all them dogs in that litter, um, I think who titled out, if I remember right. Maybe the majority of them grand out. A couple of them was night champion. Several of them was night champions, two or three, whatever. And then there was two dogs that didn't make it. One of them I had. The other one I think ended up maybe just becoming just an average dog. Hit and miss. Didn't turn out good enough for that guy. Maybe he might have kept it, but and I don't know where the dog went after that. But then like never did. I mean, you could make that dog tree, um, because I got to that point, but it was like over and over and over and over, and it's just like, when you're hunting a young dog like that, and they're treeing coons, and you just go night after night after night, month after month. It does. It gets frustrating, and that's starting one. But I mean, I don't know if she's talking about getting one for a hunt, and I guess we don't really know that, whether she's getting one ready for the hunt that's been rocking and rolling, maybe went backwards or fell off or whatever. But yeah, it can be real frustrating, um, when them dogs aren't getting treed. Now, I mean, and then you've got other lines of dogs that's real normal, that they're just doing a lot of tracking and they ain't getting treed, and they get passed around, and all of a sudden dog starts treeing and makes one heck of a dog, and they go on winning with that thing. I mean,
Well,
uh,
I think she
on
is.
their neck, like them wipeout dogs, that's the way they are, I guess. So I mean,
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to mention. That, I mean, from my understanding, there's a pretty nice wipeout dog that has won quite a bit of money that didn't tree its first coon till it was closer to 2 years old. So, I can see where people would get frustrated, especially nowadays in times. We want things right now. We want the puppy born,
oh
and
yeah,
then in 2 months we want that sucker running and treeing like it's a 3-year-old. So, um, I definitely see
oh
that. I
yeah.
think
We want them barking at cage pins at 5 weeks
oh
old,
yeah,
and another thing too. It depends on your terrain and your area too. I mean, I've it's that having a 12-month-old grand night's never been on my radar because it's not really possible to pull that off here. But if you live in a coon zoo and stuff like that, it's all about coon exposure. So if that dog's got it and wants it, and you give it and you put it in the coon, you give it to it, and just keep hammering it, hammering it, hammering it, and it likes it, and things are just rocking and rolling, then, well, I mean, why not? I mean, wouldn't you do the same thing? I'd do the same thing. But I mean,
Yeah,
that don't happen here. I mean,
it ain't
so
realistic.
terrain and area makes it what that.
I said it's for us. It's not realistic to even if you set a goal like that for. I mean, it's going to take a special pup in our area to be that way. And if you set a goal like that in our area, I mean, you're just going to frustrate yourself trying to get one right and get it
Yeah,
ready for a hunt. I don't know, Rebecca. I don't know, where you're at in the country, but maybe your goal may be, hey, yeah, I've got the coons and mine needs to be doing this by 12 months old. And that's going to really determine what goals you want to set for that dog later. Like my personal goal is if I'm working a pup like Belle, my little blue English pup up there, like her, I'm pretty much going to give her to 2 years, and then at 2 years I'm gonna make a decision if I'm gonna put more time into her or if she's not worth messing with. And that's kind of been my rule of thumb because of where I'm at now. If I was in a different area with, like you said, a coon zoo, 2 years would probably be too much because of the coon exposure they can have in those areas. But I know for me, when I'm working a pup, that's not necessarily I'm going to wait till it's 2 years old to put it in a hunt. I'm going to get that dog ready and probably put it in a local hunt when I feel like it can run and tree a coon consistently and have a coon and stay treed. The concern with me with that, and we've talked about this, is putting it in a hunt too soon when it's too immature and having another dog running off the tree or, getting some type of conflict on a hunt and set them back. Because I do believe you could have one set back in a situation like that where, hey, we were on the right track and then this happened and now we're set back 6 months. So you have to be careful
mm-hmm.
there and know when you pay your $35 or whatever it is, $20, whatever. Know that you may just have to withdraw that dog and eat that money. If there's a known rough dog in the cast or something's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, like talking about goals too. Everybody's got a different goal with the dog, and it may be. I mean, they may be just wanting to put a UKC win on it and settled out. They may just be wanting to go to a hunt just to compete, just to go. I mean, I drew out. I'll say this: I have years ago when you're so competitive and you want to go, you think, well, I don't know if I guess you just kind of get blinded, or you just don't really know what it takes and you don't really know what you got. So, some people will go with just hoping they'll get lucky. And I don't guess there's anything wrong with that. I mean, who am I to tell a guy, don't go just because you're on hopes of just getting lucky? Because we've all had lucky cast wins before if you hunted long enough, and you have things. I call it winning on technicality, and we've all got lucky and won hunts for whatever reasons. You may have some plus points, and you may be behind, but then another dog might have a first on a possum or something, and just take minus, and then there you're sitting there the cast winner. So, but as far as being prepared and not ready for hunt, I mean, if you've been hunting the dog and starting it and all that, and like I say, I'm used to when I was younger, I would have been a lot more gung ho about putting it on earlier, and it wasn't ready, and you learn as you go on, and you're watching these other dogs operate, and you just keep getting your tail whooped. You realize real quick that I'm not ready, my dog's not ready, and all I'm doing is making the dog look bad. I'm embarrassing myself, or you may not get embarrassed or whatever, but you just know you're wasting your time and your money, and that your dog ain't ready. And sometimes learning the hard way, like wake up call too, but
Well, and I think too,
Yeah.
when you think you have that dog ready, and it's not this way everywhere, but I mean, we're liable to go over here to a Monday night, Tuesday night, Thursday night, or Friday night PKC hunt, and you're liable to draw Stogie, a world champion, over here. I mean, you draw some heavy hitters, in these local hunts. And I'm not saying it's that way everywhere, but if you think you got one ready and you kind of know the people around your club, know what they're hunting, know you can, know what dogs might be a little rough or not, whatever, and you can put your dog in that hunt, that's a good gauge to figure out where you're at, caliber wise.
Yeah, if you want to check a full, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, I wouldn't just abandon the idea of
yeah,
taking it to town, but now taking it to town to say like fall super stakes, that I'm gonna mention the Walker dog again, but the Walker dog, I won $72 on him, and I was gonna try to get the 28 and take him to super stakes, but honestly, I knew deep down inside he wasn't ready for that type of stage.
mm,
The dog just he wasn't ready, and I think you kind of was in the same situation.
yeah. If a dog will, I mean, this is the way I look at it anymore, and a lot of guys have, like I say, a lot of guys have different opinions, different thought process on, and it depends on the goal. It depends on what they're trying to achieve. Some guys, they don't care that a dog can run and tree its own coon. If that dog can run and tree with another dog, they'll put it in a comp hunt in hopes of getting lucky, like I just mentioned earlier. And that happens a lot. And to each their own. I mean, if they want to do that, fine. But if you got a young dog coming on, it can run and tree its own coon and stay put. You kind of go through. I call it phases. I like these dogs go through phases. To me, that's just how I gauge it in my mind with them. And if a dog's running and treeing with other dogs, then you start hunting it by itself, and it's running and treeing its own coon by itself, and staying put and having raccoons. Um, you might hit a local hunt, and then you might win, and it depends on the caliber of dog you draw, or you might lose, or whatever. I mean, every dog has their day. They don't look good every night, anyways. But if you're consistently this dog's running and treeing its own coon and staying put, then why not put that thing in a hunt? I mean, you might go to an RQE or somewhere, or a bigger type event, or a PKC hunt, like something like we would go to over here, and draw a silver champion or a platinum champion, and going over there, and you're thinking, well, I want to go over and try to win my 100, and you're going over there trying to win your 100 to go to the super stakes, and you go over there and draw dogs like that, you may go over and hit 4 of them, lose every one of them. And that doesn't mean that your dog ain't ready. It doesn't mean that your dog ain't a nice young dog. You just got outdogged by some coon dogs.
Well,
And
real quick,
and that happens sometimes. But.
yeah. While you're talking about this, and this wasn't in her email, but I think this is a good spot to interject. There are different levels and caliber of dogs out there. There is those high level dogs, and we think, well, mine's like you said, it's running and treeing coons consistently. It's become pretty accurate. I've got a dog that can compete on a big stage, and sometimes we're fooling ourselves because there's a difference in those dogs than just your average dog out there. To me, what I've seen anyway, and the biggest thing that I've seen is the downtime. There ain't no downtime, and they stay out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Your
Yeah, that's true.
your local hunt.
But if you've got a young dog, and you're hitting local hunts, and I don't care whether it's PKC or UKC, just across the board, and that dog can run and tree its own coon, and that dog will stay put. I mean, why not? Why not go try it and check his oil? But once you put a dog with another strange dogs, you're going to have some things happen. You're going to have different things happen. They may pack up. They may blow plumb out of the country. They may not be with them. You may draw a mean dog. You may draw another dog that wants to pack up with your dog. I mean, it changes everything when you do that. So there's lots of different scenarios,
Well,
we're
that's what I'm saying
we're
too.
calling. I've always said this. We're calling a dog. We're calling a dog struck and treed that we really don't have much control over. That's chasing a wild animal that we don't have no control over.
Yeah.
So anything can happen any night. So
Well, and she's also saying, with the media coverage, which I see too. You see these dogs that are, you know, younger dogs, and now with the day and age we live in with social media and YouTube and stuff like that, you're seeing more and more dogs out there. But if you really think about it, it's a handful of dogs that you are seeing. It's either a handful of handlers with a few different dogs, or a handful of the same dogs that's doing, I'd say, a majority of the winning out there, especially in the stuff that's media coverage, like some of the PKC World stuff, maybe the PKC Super Stakes. They've got Cane Stream Media now that is doing a lot of live coverage, and all that stuff's great for the sport. But at the same time, I think for people that are sitting at home and are watching that and they're seeing this 2-year-old go out there win 20,000, or go out there and win the Tournament of Champions or whatever, I think that's where frustration starts to build up, because you're thinking, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I get my dog ready to do that? And that's where I go back to, there's different calibers of dogs, and like you said, to test one's oil, you have to take it to a local hunt and see where you're at and see what you need to work on. And does your dog even have the ability to be that next level dog? Maybe, I know for me, I question myself if I even got the training skills to get my dog there. Maybe it's not the dog, maybe it's me.
hmm well, that happens a lot too. That happens a lot.
Well,
It's the guy behind the dog too. I mean, not saying that's your situation. I'm just saying, but you're right on that. That does make a difference.
well, the gentleman I talked to that was 80 years old, I'm not going to say his name because I didn't ask him if I could, but of course, if you go back and you listen to the podcast that me and Brett done with Aaron Gamble, and we talked about bettering the breeds, and we talked about, why the breed associations are, not getting behind these winning dogs and pushing and all that stuff. But he brought up a very good point to me when me and him was dog talking on the phone. And I asked him, and he's a black and tan guy, and I asked him, I said, what would it take to see a black and tan in the final four of a world hunt, in the finals of a pro sport truck hunt? And he said to me, Jason, name me 5 black and tan handler / trainers that can handle and train a dog to that place. And I really, off the top of my head, I could think of a couple. And I said, well, I can't really think of 5. I can probably think of 2. Maybe 3. And he said, well, I've got 3 and I'm 81 years old. He said, our problem, he feels like our problem's not the breeding of the dogs when we're talking outside of walker dogs. He thinks the problem is we don't have enough handlers / trainers that know how to get those dogs ready for that level of competition. What say you?
hmm That could be argument. Well, you got to talk about that around the coon club sometime. That you could argue about that till the sun comes up.
We'll get Aaron Gamble in on that one.
Not agree. A lot of guys are not going to agree to that, and you'll have some guys that are going to pick up for their breed, and they're going to say, "Oh yeah, that's right." So that could go a lot of different ways. That's pretty much an opinion. But I mean, even though he's an older guy, and he probably knows all the main ones in his breed. He's been around them a long time. I mean, there could be 2 or 3 other guys he don't know about that's highly capable of training one to that level the dog had it.
Well, I think he's.
So you might have to make the statistic a little greater than that, I'd say. But,
well, and I think he's talking the ones that you consistently see out doing some type of winning or out pushing that certain breed of dog, whatever it would be. And I think that's where he's talking about. And I do think in his the way he was saying this to me, I do think in the Walker dog breed, there probably are more handlers and trainers because there's more of them. In the English dog breed, I would say we would be, somewhere there behind that, and then so on and so forth down the list. I'm not exactly sure where everybody would fall in that category, and I'm quite sure there's probably some great dog handler trainers that probably don't even comp hunt out there. But those dogs are not getting in the right hands to see them getting their picture took on Saturday night or early Sunday morning, and that's where our issue lies, and that's where frustration can come from. Which I think we've pretty much run a deer on her email here, but I do.
The media exposure makes a huge.
Oh yeah.
That's everything. That media exposure is huge. It's that way with basketball and promotional items like tennis shoes and branding and if you get the right people behind a dog and people like them, then yeah, they're going to rush to it, or they want to be able to do it too. That's human nature, and to be that. But then you're going to have people that will be like, I don't want to have to, say, let's just say a certain breed of Walker dogs dominate, and there's going to be guys that's going to be like, I'm going to try to do it with what I've been doing for the last 25 years and try to make it happen, and I'm not quitting. I'm not going to run to that to try to accomplish that. But then you're going to have a lot of people that's going to jump on board. They're going to see what's winning. They're going to run to it. Majority of them are going to do that. And
well, it's like Nike tennis shoes. When Jordan come out and they started making Air Jordan, everybody and their brother had to have a pair of Air Jordans by Nike. Well, it's the same way in whatever, and I'm not going to just isolate it to Walker dogs and I'll go. It's my podcast. I'll say it. So in the English dog breed, I think I can speak on this. I think I've been a part of the breed long enough and know the history. When the Kraken come on when the Kraken come on the scene and started doing some winning up there wherever he's at, he become the hot thing. Everybody flocked to it. Everybody thought that's what I had to breed my dog to. And I'm not hunted with a dog, so I can't say good, bad, or indifferent about him. I'm just saying, as an example, he started doing some winning. They made him, got his 50 white paper wins up there, and everybody and their brother was saying, well, how do I get my hands on a Kraken pup? I need to get my hands there. Back in the day, Walker dogs, it was the wipeout line, which, this is probably a topic for another podcast with our good buddy Nick Williams. But look at the dogs that's been doing the winning, and even in UKC and PKC, look what they're out of. It goes back to that same line. Around here in our area, shack is a big deal. To a lot of guys hunt shack dogs around here. So, for every breed, there is that item of the month, I guess for lack of better words, that you would call it, that everybody flocks to. Hey, this dog went over here and it done these big things, and it won here, and then the next week it went over here and won here. Oh, well, every female in the country, that's where it needs to go to. And I ain't saying that's bad or wrong. I'm just saying that's just the way it is. I guess that's human nature for us to flock to that.
Mm-hmm. It is.
But
it's that way with any sport.
Yeah.
The bass fishing and stuff, when they started coming out with the live scopes for this bass fishing and stuff, and then when it come to our area, and there were certain guys started figuring out these live scopes, and they were just beating the crap out of these guys at these bass tournaments, bringing in these huge stringers of fish. And guess what? Everybody's going to start getting live scopes. And if they don't get them and use them, they're getting left behind. They're getting beat. Well, they have no choice. You go buy a live scope. Or you get beaten. Now, that doesn't mean that some guys aren't winning some tournaments without them. But there is guys that was like, well, I can't afford it, so I'm not going to buy one. And then they finally get down to a point where they're like, all right, I'm going to make myself afford it. and they get them, and then they try. But then you got to try to figure out how to run it. You got to figure out how to use it, and so they're already kind of behind these guys that's already got it figured out and winning. So then they're having to learn how to use this thing, and then you got guys that absolutely they will not buy one. They are just like, I'm not doing that, and they still haven't bought one. They still haven't learned how to use it. And then there's guys that's bought them that can't use them. They ain't learned how to use them. And it's been a game changer for winning tournaments and stuff. And so and then so like the word gets out on Facebook, or you see these guys posting with these big stringers of fish, and so media coverage is huge, and people are drawn to that. Everybody wants to win, and they want to be a part of it. And boy, if I could just do that. And so that's just human nature to be drawn to that, and media plays a big role with it. And sometimes that media can cost you some time, some of your life too.
Yeah.
Well, it may not work out for you.
Well,
I may not be making sense, but
no. I mean, it's even like with the thermals. When the thermals first come out, everybody had to have one. I thought I needed one because I was hunting a lot of young dogs, and to me, I thought, well, this will be easy. You walk into a tree, he's treed on, you can hit the tree with the thermal, see if there's heat there, so you can see if there's a coon there, and if there's not, you can do what you need to do and send the dog on, or you can, pet it up or whatever, so you ain't wasting a bunch of time there shining a tree. Well, then I had a little issue with my thermal, and I couldn't figure it out, and then I got where I got aggravated with it and frustrated with it, and realized, hey, I can still find coons without it. And so I haven't used it a whole lot, but it was the big thing to have one, and they are handy to have, and they do help if you learn how to use them correctly. But the media coverage, I can see where you can get frustrated. But at the same time, that's where you have to know your dog that you're hunting, and you have to know the goals that are realistic for your area. Like I said before, I don't think me or you are ever going to have a grand night that's 12 months old. Not that we train in this area. If we do, all I can say is,
I've never cared to.
All I can say is look out, because somebody's fixing to be signing some checks, because it's going to be a special one if we do.
Yeah, that's a fact. Those natural elite ones, they're not around every corner anyway. So, but they're out there.
Well,
that's what you'd have to have. That's what you'd have to have here.
Oh yeah.
So, before we've trailed a lot. What as far as her questions and stuff, and like not being ready for the hunts, what else did she have on there? I mean,
well, that's pretty much it. The other thing was, she talked about later in the email about, not getting, young dogs that are pushed real hard at a young age, usually drop off and, at a younger age and don't do as much when they get older, which, I've not experienced it, but I've never had one that I pushed real hard when they were young either. But there are a lot of dogs out there that are pushed hard at an extremely young age, and they do burn out or fall off, as well. But I can't speak from any experience from that because I've never had that happen.
Well, here's one thing that I over the years that this is just me. This is my opinion is and you could keep 3 pups out of a litter and try to go through them, which one you're going to keep and which one's going to make the dog and all that. And even though they're brothers and sisters, you've got to treat these things as individuals, 100%. You're going to have different characters. You're going to have some that's hard-headed. You're going to have some that might be timid. you've got to learn your dog, spend time with your dog, and know your dog. That's the way. That's just the best way, in my opinion, to look at it. They are individuals, and you got to treat them as individuals, even all the way down to feeding and everything.
Well, yeah.
Learning, how this dog's got, whether you can hunt him down or not. You may find out a dog don't like water, doesn't do good in water. And then you also time of year too. I mean, once you get that dog to, this dog's running, treeing coons and having coons and staying put. And then you can test that dog up without putting it in a comp hunt, going with a buddy or something. You get a dog getting off and it gets by itself and it gets split treed from another dog and stays put and has a coon and holds some pressure. Man, that's what I look for. And when you start having dogs that can do that, then you can start putting them in hunts. And as you want to advance, if you are winning the smaller ones and you're like, hey, I'm winning some smaller ones, my dog's looking good, doing better, then you can bump it up, $100 entry fee hunt if it's BKC, a bigger hunt, bigger event, UKC or whatever it is that you're wanting to hunt it in. But they're all individuals. And then, it's time of year too. Some dogs look really good in the wintertime, pull the leaves off, depending on what kind of noses they've got, the terrain, the coon tracks, what the coons are feeding on, whether it's really, really dry, whether it's really, 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 really wet, different things. And the more time you spend with a dog and hunt one, I mean, my goodness, if you're not learning something at least once every week or two about your dog, even if it's a 4 or 5 year old, you're not paying attention, because you're always going to have little things that's going to happen. I mean, they're dogs. That's all there is. And you got weather changes, the barometer, the humidity, whether a fog lays in on you, dew, when the dew hits, treeing coons, dew falls, you quit treeing coons, all kinds of different scenarios. We have so many different scenarios that you can put a dog through. And as they age and develop, sometimes, then you got dogs, as they age and develop, things will progress, hopefully, and just get better and better. They get smarter. They become wiser hunters. The scent that's coming in their nose and their brain processing it. I believe there's phases on that. And then you got another deal with that. Weather, humidity, whether it's cold outside, stuff like that, It's been really, really dry here. So, people say about the coon hunting being kind of tough. If you ain't on water, it's gonna be really, really tough. You're gonna have some bad nights. You got to be on water. These coons are on water right now. And
speaking of water,
scenarios.
Hey, and speaking of water, the last hunt you was in, didn't y'all hunt on some water? Did y'all get into some no shoulders or something?
Oh my gosh. We saw 3. How many did I tell you now? I forgot. 4.
4.
We saw 4 cobras in the first 200 yards walking down that dang creek.
How big were they? 8 foot?
It don't matter how big they are. It don't matter. They'll all kill you. They'll all kill you.
So what I'm hearing is you're not going to David Bradley's house in southern Mississippi in the summertime to coon hunt.
Let me just tell you something. I don't know how he does it. He's tougher than I am. He was born and raised there, so he either does it or he golfs or does something different. I mean, he don't have no choice. He has to bust them swamps. And he's got gators and snakes both down there.
Yeah. Well,
hey, that's another thing too. Hunting water like that. That's a game changer too for some dogs. Some dogs can't hunt water. They don't know how to run a coon in water like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's just different terrain and stuff like that. But no, to answer your question, Aaron Gamble tried getting me killed the other night. Is what you want to get boil this down to.
I was wondering if you was going to throw him under the
We pull
bus.
up there. Oh yeah, well we pull up there and he says, "Have you ever hunted here before?" I said, "I don't believe I've ever drew out up right here before and hunted." And he goes, "You ain't scared of snakes, are you?" And we were sitting in the truck. I said, "Well, I don't like them." And I mean, we got snakes here right around here. You know, we don't have cottonmouths right around here. Copperheads, and then you get tanner rattlers and stuff. I don't know why there's a line up here that things don't come this way. I mean, I'm sure there is one here scattered here and there and yonder. I'm just trying to think about it, um, but yeah, we was getting ready to get out of the truck, and he asked me that, and I said, "Well, I mean, I don't like them. So yeah, I guess I am scared of them." I said, "Why is this? This creek got cottonmouths on it?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He said, "It's loaded with them." And I said, "Oh, you're just saying that." I thought he'd talk to you, and you guys were just kind of getting a big laugh out of him, you know. And we got out, and he said, "No, I'm serious." He said, "We're gonna see him." Oh, I automatically got it. Just like I mean, if you didn't have any pressure, just wanting to win the cash, just thinking, "Man, I just want to win this cash. You know, I need to win this money on my dog," and you throw all this extra stuff here in there. So I'm like, I have never shined. I can tell you what every bank looks like down there, and the rocks and everything under my feet, because I was just walking around looking. You know, I was walking around with my light down the whole time, and
That,
we turned them dogs loose, and we didn't go 20 yards, and there's a big old cobra laying over there on that bank, and I'm going, "Oh no, there he is." He goes, I told you." Started laughing. He thought it was funny, and of course we all get struck in, and they said we need to move toward him. You know, they're getting on down there. That water's making a lot of noise, and getting away from that water so we can hear them dogs, and we start moseying on down to the boom. There's another one laying there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not kidding you. We didn't go 200 yards. And matter of fact, I got my phone out, and I text Colton, and I said, "We haven't walked 200 yards, and I've seen 4 cottonmouths." And he said, "Oh my gosh, where are you at?" and so anyways, Aaron goes over there, and I'm like, I said, that guy in the cast said, get a rock and kill that thing or something, Aaron. He said, "I'm not killing that thing." He took the stick over there, and he's just messing with us. I know he's doing it. And he scared that cottonmouth, and that thing, boom, went right in the water. I said, "Oh, great. It's going the way we're walking." Right down I just knew that thing was going to just pop out up there and bite us. Yeah, I don't.
well, and then what if, you know, me and you were hunting just a mile straight south on that creek here a few weeks ago, when me and you got soaking wet in the creek down there, which we didn't see no cottonmouths down there, but it's the same creek.
Yeah. I know, and I remember you telling it later. And if you remember right, we walked up the middle of that creek for quite a ways, and then we went to get out. You remember when I crawled out? I was going to be the nice guy and crawl up the bank and get the dogs up there and then help pull you up there and all that, you know?
Yeah.
And I got on the bank, hands and knees, crawling up the side of that bank. If I had known that was the same creek that had the cottonmouths in it, like you was telling me, I would not have walked up that bank with all that grass in it like that and crawled up it. It was steep trying to get up it. You know, I had my hands on the ground.
Oh yeah, I know.
You
Oh
know, when I walk up hillsides or here and stuff, and they're real steep, you don't put your hand. You grab trees to pull yourself. You don't get on your hands and knees and you get bit by a copperhead.
yeah.
I mean, we got copperheads around here, plenty of them, and you don't put your hands down like that. So chances of a copperhead being right there is probably slim. I wasn't even really thinking about that. And you'd never mention anything to me about the cottonmouths. So. Yeah, it's just stupid. Why wouldn't you have told me that? I could have got bit.
I didn't. I'd never seen them in there like that. Now down on that end, it's a little brushier, so maybe that's why. But I've never seen them on that end like that. Anyway, that's I thought that was
I guarantee you they are.
pretty funny little coon hunting story. But I think we touched on.
Oh yeah, real funny.
On Rebecca's email there pretty good. I mean, to sum it up, know your dog first. make sure your dog is, performing. You have to set goals that are realistic to your area, in my opinion. And if you think you have one ready, take it to a little local hunt. If you do good there, jump your entry fee up and, go to a little bit bigger hunt, and, draw a little better dog and see where you're at. You can just move right on up and just keep checking the oil in it and keep hunting it. And I do agree, some dogs get pushed too hard too soon and get burnt up, but that's the handler and owner's decision to do that. Where them dogs are, but that's the biggest thing, I think. Just know your dog, know what goals are realistic for your area, and and just kind of check your dog's oil by going with a buddy or going to some little local hunt or going to a little bit bigger hunt. You'll kind of get an idea of where you're at and where you need to be, or heck, maybe you're where you need to be. But we've been at
something else she mentioned, something about like going to Autumn Oaks for taking a dog and going.
Yeah.
You can play that and play tricks with in my own mind on that a bunch, because I've had in the years past have a dog that'll run tree its own coon, that's consistent, doing good, and then you're planning on going, let's say you're planning on going to go to Autumn Oaks, or you're planning on going to go to a PKC hunt or whatever it might be, and that's 2 weeks away, and you've been hunting, okay, all this time, and your dog's just looking like trash. All right, you're automatically going to think my dog's not ready. So it's not just always puppies. Sometimes it's dogs that knows how to treat coons that you've hunted a long time. That's for whatever reason they're just looking like crap, and that's your dice to roll. That's your entry fee money. That's your dog. That's your chance to take on whether or not you want to go and travel all that way. I've been on both ends of that before. I have went and thought, well, even though he's been looking bad, this hunt's once a year. Maybe he's due for a better night. Maybe he'll look better tonight, or she'll look better tonight. And you go, and your dog does good. Okay. So then you're like, oh, okay, well, this was a good deal. I'm glad I came. But then dog may just keep looking bad, and you're like, you go up there, you get spanked, and your dog, and even if you get beat and your dog looks bad, or you get beat, your dog may look good. You just got beat. That happens too. So, yeah. But if you're want to make the trip and go, your dog better than anybody else, and if you've got a buddy that's been hunting with you or something, you could even ask them, hey, what do you think? You think I ought to take this dog and go try this dog in a hunt, and, some buddies, depending on, if they're honest with you or not, they may say, man, I don't know, I don't think he's ready for no hunt, or she's ready for no hunt, or yeah, pour it on it. And even if you hunt in a smaller hunt and you've got a younger dog and you're thinking, and you've never had the dog in a comp hunt before, and you go up and you go win, depending on the dogs you draw and what you win, I mean, you may want to go back to it again. You get another smaller hunt. You may not want to step it up just yet. You may be like, all right, I'm going to hit another one of these and just kind of see how consistent that dog is, on that level. And everybody, and every dog and person's different too. Some people can't afford to hunt them high entry fees and stuff like that, or whatever it might be. They may have the dog power and just ain't got the money.
Yep.
So
yep, that is true.
There's lots of different ways we could talk about it for hours on end, different scenarios and different possibilities. But
we done been rambling for over an hour now, so I'm sure
that's enough.
Sure people's ready to turn us off. So
yeah, I was just sitting here thinking, though, if we went just about, maybe I looked outside, maybe 5 minutes, she's going to be done with that yard.
And then she can come in and cook your supper?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say anything right when she walks in, I'm not going to play it out like that. But I'm not, so she gets the door, I'm not going to say, what are you making for supper? I might let her take a shower first.
You may have to eat potted meat tonight.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping not, because I'm getting kind of hungry. I've worked up an appetite here.
Oh, yeah.
Watching her.
I bet you ain't had no snack in an hour and 3 minutes, so I'm sure you're probably close to the verge of starting to get the shakes.
Yeah, I'm about doing. To be honest with you, hey, that yard looks pretty good. I might have her to do it next time. She done a good job.
You ain't gonna be
Yep.
able to play this sick card, but so long.
I know. And you know something else I just thought about? She needs to weed eat too, but I'm not going to say anything about it. Might maybe tomorrow say, you know, have I ever showed you how to run the weed eater before? I can show you. I don't know.
Well, the next time y'all see Brett, he'll have a goose egg up on top of his head where she hit him with that frying pan. So, um, y'all might say a prayer for him that she don't beat him half to death when she hears this podcast. So, um, well, I think we beat that one. So I think we'll call her good there, and hopefully we shed some light on it, and we'll revisit this because we got some other topics we're going to talk about, and if I can get Brett to get his stuff together and get him where he's feeling better, where he can do some traveling, and we got some interviews we got to get done too. So,
Yeah,
well,
we've got several guys we got to get in contact with.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
probably that's been waiting on our call. So,
yep. Well, with that being said, we'll get off here, and Brett, go cook Mel something to eat. Don't make her come in and cook you something.
well, ain't nothing thawed out, but I think we do got a little pot of meat in there. I will get her some snack.
We'll go make her a spotted dog sandwich.
See you later, buddy.
All right, see you. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Coonhound Collective podcast today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to the podcast. If you don't mind, head over to Facebook and give us a like, and head over to Instagram and give us a follow. It's both at the Coonhound Collective. Also, if you would like to reach us here at the Coonhound Collective, you can reach us at thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. If there's someone that you would like to hear on the podcast or a product that you would like to hear talked about, please send it to thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. Thanks again. Have a great day.